Have you ever had a day where nothing bad happened, but somehow you still felt empty? Like you were present, but not really there. You did all the things. You answered messages, you went to work or uni or wherever. You ate, you scrolled, you slept. And then suddenly it's night and you think, wait, where did my day go? That's autopilot. And the scary part is, autopilot doesn't feel like suffering. It feels like normal life. Until one day you wake up and realize, I have been living, but I haven't been choosing. So in this video, I want to talk about 7 signs you are living on autopilot, and more importantly, how to wake up. Not in a cringe motivational way, but in a real psychological way. Autopilot isn't laziness. It's not a personality type. It's a psychological state where your mind avoids discomfort, where your nervous system prioritizes efficiency, your identity runs on habits, and you do what you're supposed to do and not what you actually want. Sometimes autopilot starts because of stress. Sometimes because life is too fast. Sometimes because you were never taught to check in with yourself. And sometimes because living your life fully would force you to change something. And change is scary. Philosophically, autopilot is a modern human condition. Our lives are filled with constant stimulation, constant information, constant comparison, and constant performance. So we start living from the outside and not from the inside. We become a function, a role, a routine. And the most dangerous part is you can look successful on autopilot. You can look stable, you can look productive, and still feel dead inside. And I'm not saying this from some I have figured it all out place. I've had phases where I was so outward focused that I didn't even notice how far I drifted away from myself. I was doing things that looked right, things that were socially fine, even good, but I noticed that I was slowly losing contact with my own voice. And you don't always notice it immediately. It's subtle. It feels like I'm functioning, but I'm not fully here. So the first sign is you don't remember your days. Not because you have memory loss, but because your days have no meaning to your life. When your life is repetitive, overstimulated and unchosen, your brain doesn't store it deeply. That's why months pass so quickly, because you're living the same week again and again. And that's also why childhood felt so long, because you were fully present. And the reason why it happens is that your brain stores what feels emotionally meaningful. Autopilot is low emotional engagement, so time speeds up. You're not creating memories, you're completing tasks. Now, if you want to wake up, create one intentional moment per day, not something huge, just one moment where you decide, this is my life right now. Some easy examples could be drink a coffee without your phone, walk without music, sit there and just, do nothing for 3 minutes. And that's really enough to just break the blur. Now, the second sign is you're always waiting. Waiting for the weekend, waiting for the next vacation, waiting for the next glow up, waiting for the next relationship, waiting for the next chapter, waiting for when things get calmer. But life doesn't actually begin. It stays in waiting mode. This is a big one, because it reveals that you don't feel at home with your present. The reason this happens is that waiting is psychological avoidance. If you live in the future, you don't have to face the present. And sometimes the present is uncomfortable because you have outgrown something, you're in the wrong environment, you're in the wrong version of yourself, or you're tolerating more than you actually admit. In this case, you should ask yourself, what am I postponing my life for? And then choose one thing that you can do today that makes life feel real again. Not productive, just real. Like creating something, moving your body, cleaning your space, having one honest conversation, or even saying no once. Now the third sign is one of the clearest signs. It's when you say yes automatically, even when you don't want to. Not even because you're kind, but because you're afraid. Afraid of disappointing others, being judged, being difficult, being alone, and being misunderstood. So your personality becomes whatever keeps the peace. And that's autopilot. This relates to Carl Jung's concept of the persona. The persona is the social mask. It's the version of you that is acceptable. And it's not fake in an evil way. It's actually very protective. But when the persona is taking over completely, you lose access to your real self, like your real desires, your real instincts. What you can do now is to start with something very tiny. For example, 1 clear no per week. No apologies, no self-explanation, no shame, no guilt. Just being honest and say no whenever you feel like it. Just thank you, but I can't. This builds real self-trust. Sign number 4 is you're always consuming. Information, videos, advice, drama, music, aesthetic content, opinions, but you rarely create. And I'm not saying that consumption is always bad or you need to be an artist, but it's also important to create life from inside yourself. Consumption is passive, creation is active. And autopilot loves consumption because it keeps you distracted. You don't need a new hobby, you need a signal back to yourself. Do something that produces, not absorbs. For example, write 10 lines, sketch something, film a video, cook without watching something, or organize your room intentionally. Creation reconnects you to agency. Sign number 5 is a bit deeper. You don't know what you want. You might say, I don't know what my goals are, I don't know what I like, I don't know who I am. This is so common. And it's not because you're broken, it's because you've been adapting for too long. If you spend years prioritizing what's expected, what's impressive, what feels safe, what makes others comfortable, you stop hearing yourself. And wanting becomes quiet. What you can do is to use the method of the body check. For every choice, ask, does this feel open or does it feel heavy? Not is it logical? Does it feel alive or dead? Also, write a list of things you do to be accepted. And then circle the ones you hate. This is where you lost yourself. Sign number 6 is you feel emotionally flat. Like not always sad, just muted. Like life has no texture. This is often not depression. It's emotional shutdown. Your nervous system goes, this is too much, too many inputs, too many feelings. So it reduces sensitivity. But here's the problem. When you numb pain, you numb joy too. The fix isn't more stimulation. The fix is less. Less noise, less scroll, less social performance, and more silence, sleep, body movement, real conversations, stillness without dopamine. The last sign is the biggest. You feel like life is happening to you. You're reactive, you deal with whatever comes. You basically survive the week, but you don't lead your life. And the reason this is dangerous is because over time you believe that you don't have any power over your life. And this belief creates despair. Now, this is the wake up formula. First, you should choose one area to lead. It could be health, it could be career, it could be relationships or identity. And then choose one decision you have been avoiding for very long. And then you should do one uncomfortable action. Because agency is built through discomfort and action, not through thinking. Autopilot ends where choice begins. If you recognize yourself in these signs, I don't want you to feel ashamed. Autopilot is not moral failure. It's what happens when life becomes too loud and you become too disconnected from yourself. But the good news is you don't need a new life. You need a new relationship with your current life. And you can start with something simple. One intentional decision per day. That's how you wake up. Not all at once, but for real. Alright, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more videos like this in the future, you can subscribe for more. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!